And then we'll go live.
Okay. So you're going to swap me onto screen. Is that how you do it? Yeah.
Hi everyone, we'll just give it one more moment for everyone else to join and then we will begin. Okay, so we'll make a start. Hello everyone, welcome to the first in our series of marine tech webinars. My name is Chelsea, I work for Plymouth City Council and I will be your host for this event. Just a quick reminder that during this webinar you will only hear myself and our presenter speak. We will not be able to see or hear any delegates. After the presentation we will be holding a Q&A session. Please use the Q&A chat bar to ask any questions throughout the presentation and we will go through these at the end. If you see any questions you would also be interested in hearing the answer to, give it a like and this will send it to the top of the pile. Just a reminder, this webinar is being recorded with the intention to be available to others on demand. Enjoy, and I will now hand you over to our Director of the Marine Business Technology Centre, Rob Watson.
Good morning, everyone. As Chelsea says, I'm the director for the MBTC. Just wanted to give you a little bit of background for those that don't know me as to what I was doing prior to this role. So before joining Plymouth City Council as the director for the MBTC, I was the head of business growth for Hampshire County Council, where I was involved with a number of fairly large and high profile projects. Two to highlight, the global maintenance, repair and overhaul centre that's being developed for Gulfstream at Farnborough, and the America's Cup base that's located in Portsmouth. They were two of the larger ones. Prior to joining the public sector, I was in industry for nearly 20 years, focused primarily around cyber security. During that time, I worked for the likes of RSA, EMC, Aruba Networks and Dimension Data. So that's me, and I think, Chelsea, if we can just swap onto the presentation itself, that would be great. Are we on, Chelsea?
Yep, that's ready to go.
Okay, so what I wanted to do today is to give an update on the MBTC project and where we are. But most importantly, it's to focus around some case studies of businesses that we've supported, which highlights the type of support that the MBTC and our partners can provide. I'm aware that there are some people on the call that probably haven't seen anything to do with the MBTC up to this point. So I wanted to give a quick overview of the project and what we're actually here to do. So by way of a quick overview, the MBTC is a Devon-based service that is looking to provide support for innovation in the high-tech marine sector. It's based in Plymouth at the Oceansgate Marine Enterprise Zone in Devonport and is funded by the European Regional Development Fund. The total fund for the project is 4.7 million, and it provides access to trials and testing area, academia and research. So really what it's there to provide is a full end-to-end solution for businesses that are looking to develop new marine technology from inception all the way through to testing, certification and production. It's a partnership led by Plymouth City Council. So I actually work for Plymouth City Council, as does the core team. But the real sort of horsepower behind this are our research partners. So we have the University of Plymouth, University of Exeter, Plymouth Marine Laboratory and the Marine Biological Association. This provides a really strong group of partners that can help develop new technology, as I say, right from start to finish. When we started the program, we actually went out to industry to canvass what businesses saw as likely focus areas for the MBTC. And what came back was an interesting group of areas. So at the top there, we can see advanced autonomy. And what we're talking about here really is applied autonomy. So it's not to do with autonomy per se, it's what you would actually use it for. Second point there is alternative propulsion. A lot of this is being driven by regulations and air quality issues. Related to both of the above is advanced manufacturing and materials, and also related to it is environmental monitoring and modelling. What's underpinning all of this and is increasingly prevalent is the whole area of cybersecurity, big data and Internet of Things. And what we have now established are major projects in all of these areas that we are supporting businesses on. So the survey proves that what businesses we're after is what we are able to support locally here in Devon. The other part of the survey was to look at what industry actually needed in order to further develop technology. And number one priority was to have some form of proper live testing and proving area. Now, what's come off the back of this is what we're calling Smart Sound Plymouth. And this is around 1,000 square kilometres of ocean, including Plymouth Sound itself, where companies can come to us and establish testing and proving programs in a real world environment. The other thing that's unique to this particular area, if anyone knows the space, is it's actually a very diverse environment. So you've got everything from sort of sheltered and shallow water all the way out to up to 80 meters of depth with strong tides, big waves, etc. Which proves a really sort of comprehensive and diverse testing area for any technology that people are looking to develop. It's based on a heavily instrumented data array. Central to this is the Western Channel Observatory that's run by Plymouth Marine Laboratory. This array has actually been taking data samples for a very long time, and it's commonly acknowledged that this is probably the best understood piece of water in the world. Over and above this are a number of other assets that our partners operate, and certainly industry that's operating in the space as well, but I'll get onto that in a second. Within the MBTC, we have a full team that is able to put together test and proving programs. And the last point is probably the most important. It's very accessible. So any business that is eligible to work with the MBTC has free access to all of this. All of the planning and development is done for you. And given the geography, you can get into sort of deep water depths within 2 hours of leaving Plymouth itself. So it's accessible in a number of ways. Based around the Smart Sound and the MBT initiative is a cluster of businesses locally located in and around Plymouth and Devon. This is the Future Autonomous at Sea Technologies cluster, and what it consists of are a number of businesses, educators and service providers that are very focused around the whole area of advanced marine autonomy. So within there, you have platform providers and manufacturers, you have power systems, you have sensing and control systems. And the whole idea of this is it's a group of businesses that are open, collaborative, and willing to work with other industry partners to develop new technology. So a key part of the MBTC is not just the access to our core partners, the universities, PML and MBA, but it's also the associated industry players that we're working with, whether it's within the FAST cluster or other clients that we are supporting. So the MBTC has been going for around 18 months. We're about halfway through the project, and within that time we've engaged almost 400 businesses across various platforms and events. Within that group we've got over 60 live projects, and 45 of those are in-depth research engagements. So this has been based on direct interaction with businesses, but also a comprehensive event program. So when we launched the MBTC on the 31st of January of last year, we actually attracted over 100 attendees, which was a fantastic result for us, and certainly started the project on a very strong footing. Following up on that was the official launch of the Smart Sound Plymouth, which was in June. Again, significant numbers there, over 80 attendees, and what's resulted in that is a number of very significant projects. We've also conducted 4 dedicated workshops across specialised subjects around cybersecurity, alternative propulsion, and the whole area of digital design. And within those, again, over 100 attendees across the 4 workshops. We are intending to run further workshops virtually or directly over the rest of the project, so we'll be sharing that schedule in a little bit. So we've got some new initiatives that we're pushing forwards for the next part of the project. The first one to let everybody know about is the MBTC Innovation Grant Programme. This is a total of £120,000 of funding for innovation. We're finalising the design of that programme now, and we have scheduled a launch webinar for the 1st of July. So if anyone's interested in being part of that, please sign up via the links that have been provided. Smart Sound Plymouth continues to be enhanced. And again, there is another webinar based on that on the 17th of June. But with regard to connectivity, we are in the process of looking to secure some additional funding to further enhance that connectivity. And we expect an announcement on that very soon. The first phase of this is to mesh the various assets that are already out there, including the assets that are part of MBTC. But ultimately, we want to go towards a fully 5G connected proving ground with a digital twin element to it to do virtualized testing and modeling prior to doing full live testing. I mentioned the platforms that the MBTC has acquired as part of this funding. This is very significant for us and certainly for the businesses that we are supporting. So contained within the programme was nearly £1 million worth of capital funding for equipment to support innovation. The first one listed there is the unmanned surface vessel named Cetus. This is a state-of-the-art unmanned vessel pictured at the top there, and is the first of its kind to be offered to SMEs to utilise for testing and proving within a live environment. Total cost of that is £500,000. Clearly there's a lot of work that's gone on around the actual vessel itself and how we make sure that access is as easy as possible. It is operational, and once lockdown has been lifted, it's there, it's in Plymouth, it's ready to use. We're doing a webinar specifically around that vessel on the 12th of August. Associated with this is the updated PML data buoy, which will be deployed as part of the Western Channel Observatory, but again is free and open to use for eligible businesses. This is likely to be deployed at the start of next year, but again, it's one of the most sophisticated data buoy offerings anywhere in the world. So that will be part of the webinar on the 17th of June. Also associated with this is another £200,000 worth of sensor and data assets that will be deployed on both platforms That's due to arrive in Plymouth in the next 2 to 3 months, and again will form part of the webinar on the 17th of June. With regard to contacting us and starting to engage, we do have a website. The site name is there. You can also email us at mbtc@plymouth.gov.uk, and there's a direct dial line there as well. I'll repeat this towards the end of the presentation. So that's a summary of the MBTC and where we're at and what our direction of travel is. What I wanted to share with you now were some case studies of where we've engaged with businesses and the types of support that we're actually providing. So the first is a company called Frontier Technical. Now this is an interesting project in that it's a development of a multi-use autonomously deployed platform. So this is modular. It's specifically for a floating asset, and the initial focus is on offshore wind power for remote locations. So this could be the third world, it could be disaster relief, or it could be just remote communities anywhere where power is difficult to get. So with regard to the MBTC support, Frontier have been supported by all of our partners, including ourselves, in a variety of different ways. So the first point there is funding support for professional services. So this is around helping to develop the business plan. There's some elements of marketing within this, and it's also the development of various bids into other programs. So what the MBTC has actually been able to do is to gain additional support for Frontier from other projects that are operating in the area. So we've managed to secure some funding not only from ourselves, but also Impact Lab, which is operating up in Exeter, Oceansgate, where we're located, around a business support grant, and Marina AI, which is very strongly focused on floating offshore wind. In addition, we have been supporting with the engagement with local businesses, and a number are now part of the consortium that are supporting Frontier Technical with getting this platform operational and rolled out in Smart Sound. Over and above this is the core innovation support from MBTC partners. So the testing that we're talking about there on the final point is being led by PML. So the platform will be going out into the water in the next 6 months or so, but also involved here are the University of Plymouth and the MBA with regard to developing the technology itself and access to University of Plymouth's prototyping and tank testing facilities in their coast lab, which is based on their campus in the city. So this gives you an idea of how we actually support businesses. And the interesting development here is that Frontier Technical were originally based in Sunderland and have now moved lock, stock and barrel to Plymouth and are currently investigating space in Oceansgate to further expand their operations in the city. The next one is Plymouth Boat Trips. Anyone that's familiar with Plymouth will probably know the Mermaid and the other vessels that operate in and around the Sound. What Plymouth Boat Trips are looking to do, and this came off the back of a workshop that we did last June, which was around alternative propulsion with the University of Exeter, is to convert one of their existing vessels, the Mermaid, pictured there, to electric hybrid power and ultimately fully electric. Where the MBTC has come into this is to assist with the design and development of the vessel itself, which is largely led by University of Plymouth. And then there's the whole area of the powertrain development, which University of Exeter are leading on. Contained within this to develop the full end-to-end solution was a brokered industry consortium that involves Voyager Marine, which will effectively be doing the vessel design and build conversion. Team Bridge Propellers that are developing a specific propeller that is fully compatible with electric drive, and EV Parts who are developing the next generation of batteries. This is all underpinned by the research partners contained within the MBTC. Similar to Frontier Technical, we've also brokered grant funding support, and via the University of Plymouth and ourselves, we've secured £50,000 worth of funding for Impact Lab, which is around the environmental testing of this particular vessel. And as was announced actually today, we've also secured via University of Exeter some Maritime UK funding for the propulsion system itself. So this is now significantly funded, which means that we can go ahead with developing this first-in-class vessel. Full testing program is due to start with Smart Sound Plymouth. That's scheduled for late 2020, so the vessel should be operational at that point. And interestingly, it includes what we're terming a vessel efficiency index with the Marine Biological Association. This is to look at a comparison between running a fully diesel-powered vessel and a partially electric and then fully electric alternative. Finally, this is the other bit that is often overlooked within the MBTC is Plymouth City Council itself. So we've actually also brokered a conversation with the city to look at vessel charging points. We now have an agreement to put one in at the Barbican to support Plymouth boat trips and their vessel. The next one is a brand new initiative, which is a new collaboration that has developed out of the conversation around the previous example. And this is a collaboration called Plymouth Electric Boats Limited. It's a partnership between MSubs, Marina AI and RATSI Marine. And really what they're looking to focus on is the next generation of fully electric vessels for both passenger and commercial uses. Related to this also is some semi-autonomous technology, possibly working towards fully autonomous electric and in the future hydrogen-powered vessels for commercial use. The activity with Plymouth Electric Boats is very early, but we are supporting funding bids for technology development into this. So Innovate UK, Maritime UK, Impact Lab, etc. We're also in the process of helping with brokerage into industry. We've started a number of conversations with large international players that may be looking to utilise this platform to further develop their prototype systems. Plymouth Electric Boats will be utilising the full range of MBTC assets, so Smart Sound Plymouth for testing certification, and conversations have already started with the research partners to look at the technology development and prototyping. Finally, we have Marina AI. Now, I'm not sure how many people on the call are familiar with the Mayflower Autonomous Ship project, but this is a fully autonomous research platform, excuse me, that will be looking to replicate the voyage of the Mayflower on the 16th of September of this year. It's designed and built by MSubs, and Marina AI is an offshoot of this. What the business is developing is essentially a marine traffic control centre for autonomous vessel management. Now, this includes looking at how autonomous vessels can operate in a mixed environment and providing models for how you can actually manage that traffic within a combined environment. IBM and Red Hat are partnered within this, and there is joint development going on with that. So there's full utilisation of Smart Sound Plymouth assets, and both physical and the data and communication elements. And there's been some additional brokerage within Plymouth City to provide access to other physical assets such as Tinside Lido, to actually allow asset deployment and central management there. ultimately, this is a privately developed data network that is accessible for research for eligible businesses as well. This is brokered via the MBTC and is another good example of how we work with industry to provide further support for eligible businesses. So that's 4 case studies to show how the MBTC works. With regard to engaging with the MBTC, I mentioned earlier that there are a number of webinar and workshops planned. So the full list is here, starting with the Smart Sound Plymouth update, which is on the 17th of June, Innovation Grant Programme on the 1st of July. We're then doing an event with Plymouth City College to look at skills in the marine sector. Plymouth Marine Laboratory are providing an overview of their services on the 29th of July. We've got a specific workshop on USAE CETUS on the 12th of August, which is hosted by the University of Plymouth. Autonomy in Plymouth is on the 26th of August, and this is around the FAST cluster and MSubs. Maritime UK South West, which is a new initiative under Maritime UK, will be presenting on the 9th of September. We've then got the Mayflower Autonomous Ship on the 16th of September, and finally the Marine Biological Association and their environmental studies on the 23rd of September. So how to engage? What we're offering at this point is a free 2-hour consultation, and what this is really designed to do is to have an online at this time, but hopefully later a physical meeting, to take a look at where the MBTC could assist your business to innovate. And that's really open to any business that is looking to try something new. We are very flexible in how we operate and how we support businesses, but it's critical that we have this upfront conversation with you if this is something that you'd like to take advantage of. There are 2 people to contact. You can either contact myself or Mandy Bowden, who's the lead knowledge exchange officer on this program. I mentioned the website earlier. You can also access via that, and of course give us a call directly if that's what you would prefer to do. So that ends the presentation. As Chelsea mentioned earlier, we are open to Q&A, so we can flip on to that now. So Chelsea, have we got any questions?
Not yet. Has anyone got any questions they'd like to ask Rob? Any questions, just type it into the live Q&A bar. Right, we've just got one that's come in. Okay. Someone's just said, thank you for the session.
You're welcome.
We've got another one that's just come in. How will the Mayflower navigate to Boston?
Okay, so there's a number of ways that they're looking to do this, and to be honest, I'm not 100%. I don't want to say something that's untrue. So I think the idea is within coastal areas. Clearly, you're using terrestrial type connectivity. I mentioned 5G earlier. 5G potentially is very important in this, in the point that it actually gives the access to navigational systems and proximity and so on within a certain area. As the vessel goes further out to sea, that's likely to be more on the satellite communications side of things. So utilising GPS, GNSS, etc. The reality from what we're seeing around autonomous systems is the further out to sea that you get, the easier, for want of a better description, it is to operate autonomously. It's a dedicated shipping lane. There'll be a specific route there. There are cameras and so on that are on board the vessel, and the operators, which in this case will be MSUBs, have access to the vessel at all times. So that's how that will be operated. Obviously, there will be live data feeds from the vessel as well, since part of the purpose is to look at this as a research platform.
So we just had another question come in. Can you send details on how to sign up for future events? Yep, we can do that. I've got everyone's email address that is attending today, so I will send a follow-up email after this event. We just got another one in. Are there any similar or competing initiatives around the country, and how does Oceansgate compare?
Yeah, there are a number of initiatives. We actually work very closely with a lot of them, and the purpose of how we've set the project up, or the service up, is to make sure it's complementary. So a good example would be Marina AI, who are in Cornwall. We tend to refer to them as a sister project to us. So we aren't competing. They have a similar offer, but their focus is different. So in their case, a lot of what they're looking at is offshore wind and offshore power technologies. So the way that we would work with them is that if they wanted to utilize, say, an autonomous platform to look at servicing or supporting offshore renewables, we would work with them to develop the platform to do that. They would then test the platform within a specific use case. Another example is NOC in Southampton, who again we work closely with. In fact, NOC utilise Smart Sound Plymouth for a lot of their testing. So it's very much looking at what the unique assets within Plymouth and Devon are, and it comes back to Smart Sound and how it's designed. So geographically, we have very quick access to proper ocean conditions, which a number of other locations can't do. And we're actively engaging with these other programs as we speak to try and make sure that clients of ours potentially can get access to other projects that may be able to support them in different ways.
So the next question is, what can MBTC grants be used for?
It's all around innovation. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of the funding went towards capital assets to assist with testing and programs. So this is more around the sort of business support elements that can't be provided by the core program. So a good example would be if a business is looking to pull together a grant bid into a different source of funding. That's something that could be assisted with financially. So if someone wants to use a consultant to do that, we have looked at it for marketing support. We have looked at it for business plan development and other forms of business support. So it's a consultancy grant fund as opposed to equipment, because equipment that we are providing as part of Smart Sound and the overall MBTC program has already been paid for and is accessible.
Great. So the next one is, are there any particular gaps in the current or planned initiatives / projects / technologies that are targeted in the MBTC program?
Okay, so if I understand that correctly, is that around what's missing on Smart Sound itself, or are there different areas of technology that we're looking to focus on? So if I take the first one, the next stage of the Smart Sound and MBTC offer is to look at the connectivity of Smart Sound itself. So I mentioned that earlier. That's something that we're in the process of looking at right now. With regard to technology areas, there are other emerging ones. So we're not